Hey everyone, welcome out to the channel. Today we have another exciting episode where we're going to be taking a look and continuing our look at the Bodyguard 2.0, and we're going to be comparing it with the Kimber Micro 380 and the Beretta Cheetah 80X. We're going to be taking a look at this Remington Ultimate Defense compact handgun with a bonded jacketed hollow point with 102 grains. Let's get to shooting. All right, well, what are we talking about today? We've got the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, Kimber Micro 380, Beretta Cheetah 80X. They're all chambered in 380 ACP. We have our Garmin, we've got some gel, and we're going to take a look at this Remington Ultimate Defense for a compact handgun specifically designed for it with a 102 grain bonded jacketed hollow point. It's our Golden Saber bullet. Let's see how it performs today. Okay, we have some Remington Ultimate Defense. It has their 102 grain bonded jacketed hollow point. I believe it is their Golden Saber bullet. So we're gonna try it out in our Bodyguard 2.0. All right, let's take a look and see what that bonded Golden Saber bullet from Remington did. It looks like it got down to, almost 11 and a half, close to that 12 inches. Had a significant amount of bounce back. We'll talk about what that bullet did. It looks like it expanded very nicely. We have a decent wound track. Now let's check out and see what our Kimber Micro 380 with a slower twist rate will do next to it. All right, well, let's take a look. It's hard to tell when it's looking at this angle, but we got about the same distance with it. In fact, the bullet went just a little bit longer. Instead of getting past that 9.5 inch mark, it sits at about 10 3/4 inches or 10 and a quarter inches. It looks like the wound track maybe didn't get quite as far as with the Bodyguard 380. So in this case, it looks like that slower twisted well. We'll have to look and compare those two bullets and see what the difference is. Let me see if I can get a better angle on this. You can see here this wound track. It's not a very big one. And there's that bullet right there. Okay, if we just take a look at that from the Kimber Micro 380, looks like it got very nice expansion. This is the bullet from the Bodyguard 2.0. Looks like we got very good expansion, very good pullback. Now this is head to head on these two bullets. If you look at these two, looks like we did get more expansion with that Bodyguard with the increased angular momentum. They have about the same length barrels, but I can see that this one is definitely shorter than this one. I can see that this one over on the left is shorter than the one on the right. And the one on the right is the Kimber, and the one on the left is the Bodyguard. It has increased angular momentum because of that increased twist rate. Okay, now we have that Remington 102 grain Ultimate Defense for compact pistols, and it's their bonded jacketed hollow point. Let's see how it does with a slightly longer barrel with this Beretta Cheetah 80X. And folks, this is why some people say, don't use a jacketed hollow point with 380. So we look here, we had our 2 rounds, we had our Bodyguard went to this point, we had our Kimber Micro 380 who went to this point. So again, less energy getting to here. And then we had our Beretta that only got 8 inches of penetration. It did have a more significant wound track, so I suspect when we pull that out of the gel, we're going to get it to be just a little bit bigger or a little bit wider and smushed out jacketed hollow point. But yeah, that's why people are concerned about using jacketed hollow points in this gel, because they don't get deep enough penetration. They get the expansion that's needed. And again, we're not testing with clothing. So sometimes that means that the projectile will get caught in the clothing and it won't expand properly when it's going through gels, and it'll behave more like a full metal jacket. And I tell you, I know that a 380 can get some significant penetration when you're running a FMJ. It can get out to, you know, the extent of these two gel blocks, and we can test that later. But I tell you, if one of your hollow points don't expand in a 380, I don't care about that as much as I do with a 9mm or a 10mm round. So again, I think that right is an unacceptable round. The FBI standard in organic gel is at least 12 inches. We're not getting past 8 and 9 inches out of the Beretta with this ammunition. No. Well, my apologies. I actually just shot the video. I shot with the Kimber Micro 380. I had 4 shots, and we had a min of 917 and a max of 942. If we look at our session summary with it, I only have 4 shots. I'd reshoot this if I had more ammunition. I don't have more ammunition. My apologies on that. I thought I pressed record. But the min was 917, the average was 927, and the max was 949. And the extreme spread was 31. So not a great extreme spread, but that was with our Bodyguard 2.0. Let's move on to the Kimber now. Okay, we have 4 shots with our Kimber Micro 380 with this Remington ammunition. Let's see how it performs. 914. And we got a slide. Oh, I bet I hit the slide. Stop. 937. 870. 942. Well, that wasn't good. And that 870 is going to wreak havoc on our session summary. So we got 4 shots with a min of 870, a max of 942, extreme spread of 71, and the average of 916. That's less than our Smith & Wesson. And again, our Bodyguard, or our Kimber, has a slightly longer barrel. I checked the chamber support, and it looks to be the same, but we're certainly getting, it also could be variation from one round to the next. I don't know. Let's keep shooting. We got the Beretta Cheetah up next. Okay, we have our Beretta. Let's see how it performs, how this ammunition performs in here. 1028, 1017, 992, and 1014. With that longer barrel, we're seeing our velocities goes up. That's consistent with what we're seeing in gel, that we get just maybe tiny bit more expansion. And with those 4 shots, we got a min of 992, a max of 1038, pretty consistently high extreme spread of 36, and an average of 1013. All right. All right, well, we're about 5 yards. I only have 5 more rounds. So rather than just shoot 1 round for the Kimber, for the Bodyguard, and the Cheetah, we're going to stick to the Bodyguard, because I think most of the people that are watching this video are going to want to look at it for the Bodyguard 2.0. We have other tests, not with this ammunition, but with the Beretta and with the Kimber in terms of accuracy. So let's see what we can do at 5 yards, which is more of a self-defense kind of distance, with this Remington Ultimate Defense ammunition. Well, I screwed that up. I thought I'd shot them all. So dang, that's pretty accurate. Performs okay in gel. That's great performance at 5 yards, but the gel test sold it for me. This isn't a round that I'm going to be using. Okay, well, let's wrap up this video and give you our final thoughts. So I don't think, as I was just saying in the video, I don't think that I'm going to be carrying this Remington Ultimate Defense handgun ammunition. Excuse me, I've got a box here for a prop. It is my 40 Smith & Wesson box, though. But as I was saying, it just didn't get enough penetration in the gel. I don't think in any of these three guns there's enough penetration. Now, the other interesting thing is that in this case, contrary to what we see in some of the other gel tests we're going to be doing with the Bodyguard and the Kimber, in this case, the Kimber, the bullet landed further, but the furthest point in the gel that it looked like it got penetration to before it snapped back, it did look like the Bodyguard 2.0 got further and then snapped back further. I'm not sure if that meant it had more energy when it got to that point or what. And then we saw in the velocity testing the Kimber and the Bodyguard, which again have very similar barrel lengths, although then the main difference being their twist rate, although there's some evidence that perhaps there's also some difference in the chamber support. But given that, we see some difference in expansion. Is it enough? I don't know. We also see some difference in the compression of the bullet. Is it enough? I don't know. We definitely saw when you get a longer barrel length, you don't get nearly as much penetration in the gel. I think that bullet just flattened out a lot sooner and a lot faster with the Beretta Cheetah. But interestingly, it didn't get as big as dimension, like 0.1 off, 0.5 versus 0.6. That is interesting to me too. But I think definitely it just felt like the bullet was smushed deeper and flatter, but for whatever reason, it didn't have any petals going out as wide as the other two. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Remington is a great self-defense round in the 380? Are you more of a hard cast bullet type? I've got some bullets from Buffalo Bore hard cast that I'll be doing in the future in probably a few months. Or do you want to find a jacketed hollow point? 380 ammunition is really tricky to find good hollow points for that get enough expansion and that get enough penetration. Some people say hard cast or FMJs. With those, I do worry just a little bit about over penetration. I know I've said in the past I'm not that worried about it, but I guess I'm not that worried about if my hollow point doesn't expand because it gets clogged with clothing and performs like an FMJ, but I would like a hollow point expansion. So let me know what you guys think. Please put it in the comments below. I hope everyone has a great week, and let's get to shooting.